U.S. media reports say Washington has agreed to withdraw troops from Niger. The base in the West African country has been key in counterterrorism efforts in the Sahel region. But Niger's ruling junta canceled a military cooperation agreement with Washington last month and demanded the troop withdrawal. Protests against the U.S. presence have taken place since a military coup last July. The U.S. currently has around 1,000 soldiers in Niger. Let's cross over to Isio Erich in Berlin. He is a journalist who specializes in the Sahel region. Isio, it's nice to have you here. Why has the U.S. government agreed to withdraw its soldiers from Niger?
I think the question leads to the core of the problem. After all, Niger is a sovereign state, so why wouldn't they? I think the US learned a lot from the events surrounding the retreat of French soldiers from Niger. The French government didn't want to leave, and in the end they were pretty much forced out, and all ties between Niger and France have been cut ever since, at least for the moment. The US don't want that to happen, so they try to maintain a relationship somehow.
Meanwhile, Niger is getting closer and closer to Moscow. What led to Niger's closer ties with Russia?
I think it's a lot about sovereignty. The coup d'etat is seen in a big part of the population as a move towards a liberation from a corrupt political system in Niger and also from oppression by foreign powers. So the idea of sovereignty is very high in the popularity, and liberating themselves from having one partner only, in that case the West, is seen as a means of gaining more leverage in the construction of a new world order, with Niger in a better place in it.
I'm curious about your perspective on this. Will the U.S. withdrawal affect its ability to wield influence in Niger?
Absolutely. There are more than 1,000 soldiers stationed in Niger at the moment, and it's a very important asset. And once they're gone, it will be very difficult to have an idea what's going on in the region. And that definitely makes a different situation for the US and its ability to stay in contact with the junta as well, because there will be less personnel, and the balance of assets will shift, because there will be Russians in place at the moment, and nobody knows for how long they will stay. So there are a lot of open questions concerning that.
So give us some perspective here. How has Niger's recent political shift affected its relationship with its former Western allies, for example, France? And what alliances has it formed with other countries other than Russia?
At the moment, I wouldn't say that Niger has created new alliances. It's trying to maneuver itself into a situation where it's not siding with either side in a multipolar world. And that is seen as a means to gain more leverage, as I said. There have been discussions, that is said at least, with Iran about the uranium exploitation in Niger. China is raising its influence in Niger, and Turkish politics as well. So there are discussions with many sides, but at the moment the goal of the government of Niger, or the junta, the military government, is to not side with anyone indefinitely. They also say that the Russian military advisors that just arrived in the country, they will leave as soon as their job is done. But if that really happens, is something that has to be seen in the future.
And we're going to have to end it there. Our thanks to journalist Isio Erich.